Yes, good morning, class. I should think it should be fine now. Everybody, please come back. Okay. Now, I'm sorry about that. Rupa, good morning. I'm sorry about that, Vicky, good morning. There was some issues, I don't know. Okay. Shilpi, good morning, ma, all of you. Okay. So today I'm talking about, yeah, you're back. Yes, Ravi. Yeah. Today I'm talking about project scope management. As I told you, project scope, imagine when you talk about scope, you imagine a photograph, okay? A photo frame, all right? Once again, Bharat, Tejas, Divya, Bharati, Sujan, Lily, every Fakruk answer. Okay, all of you, good morning. Okay, now when you talk about scope, always take a photo frame. All right, imagine it is a rectangular photo frame. So when I say scope, it is everything inside the photo frame and nothing beyond it. Now, suppose I give you a blank canvas, okay? It is in the form of a rectangle, it's in a rectangular shape. Now, I give you paint and I tell you, and a brush and start painting. Now, when you paint, it is so, it can happen. Imagine on a canvas, we are drawing a rectangular shape and I'm telling you paint inside that. When you paint, it is possible that it goes outside, isn't it? It is possible. Then you have exceeded the scope. So in real life also, when there is a project and that is happening, the scope this scope, we call it scope creep. CREEP. This scope creep can happen. And when you brush, do the painting, it is possible that something inside within that frame is left undone. So both these things we cannot afford. If we have to be professionally and efficiently complete a project, then we have to do everything inside that photo frame, nothing beyond it. This you keep in mind as the project, okay? Abash, good morning. Ganesh, good morning. Bhavna, good morning. All of you, good morning. Okay. Now, project. Take your slides. The first slide. Project should go on smoothly from initiation to completion, and that is why we need the project scope management. Project scope management is a process. Good morning, Zulfati. Good morning. Project scope management is a process that helps in determining and documenting. See, you have to determine first and then you have to document. What do you have to document? The list of all the project objectives, all right? The tasks, what all you have to do, what you have to produce at the end of the project, that is the deliverables, the deadlines, all right? You may have phase wise deadlines or one final deadline, and then budget as part of the planning process. All right. So project scope management is part of project planning. Remember that. It is a common for a big project to have modifications along the way. If it's a large project, any project, there is escalation cost. Like I told you, there is scope creep. You're painting inside a square, and there is a possibility that your paintbrush will come beyond this thing. As simple as that. There is something called scope creep. You have a scope, but you cannot stay all inside that. Suppose you do go outside, or suppose it is necessary to have some adjustments outside, then what are you going to do? All right. So that is why you need to define your scope. Just hold on a minute. Rakshita, good morning. Amreen, good morning. Mahesh, good morning. Manjunath, good morning. Okay. Manjunath is my old student. He's a professor himself in Colombo University. Okay, here we are. Project scope management refers to the set of processes that ensure a project scope is accurately defined and mapped. All right, you see the whole issue of making the scope and having it managed, having it, Asha, good morning. Dave, good morning. Yeah, the whole idea of management is to see that, see, when there is a risk, there is management. So the risk of having, exceeding the scope, the risk of not completing the scope, these are the risks that you have to mitigate, and that is why you require project scope management. See, these scope management techniques enable a project managers and supervisors to allocate the right amount of work necessary to successfully complete a project. Primarily concerned with controlling what is part of the project and what is not part of a project. Like I said, everything within the photo frame, nothing beyond it. Everything means everything. You have to complete everything. Okay, let's come to the next slide, slide 3. Project scope is a part of project planning process, as I said again before. It documents specific goals. Remember, one is goals. Second, deliverables, what you're supposed to do. Features and budgets. Alright, the tasks that are necessary, the goals, the tasks, the deliverables, and finally the budgets. Okay, the scope, there is something called a scope document. It details the list of activities for the successful completion of the project. To complete the project, what all you have to do is documented in the project scope document. The scope is defined by understanding the project requirements. What do you have to do? So deliverables, when you have the deliverables, you will naturally find out the tasks necessary for doing the deliverables. The scopes, and also there is something called stakeholders, the client and his expectations, etc. So all this is to be considered when you make the scope statement, because the client requirements is what are the actual deliverables. You know that, isn't it? Next. So usually these are the 4 things that you have in a project scope document. The project deliverables, whatever you have to do. The exclusions, what you need not do. The constraints of the project, what problems you will you may have to see. And then any assumptions that you have made. Alright. Yes, Naresh and Chandu, good morning. Okay. Now we'll go on to the next slide. This slide tells you more about project scope statement. It is also called a statement of work. It is associated with the WBS, work breakdown structures. So it is also called the statement of work, and it details all the boundaries of the project. Like I said, the photo frame, all the boundaries of the project. So within the boundaries, which the team members and their responsibilities also have to be determined. Okay. An example of a project scope statement is that it defines all the procedures that need to be followed for verifying and approving the finished work. Alright, the scope statement documentation gives team members a definite guidelines for making project related decisions. We'll see how it is. When documenting let's go on to the next slide, slide 5. When documenting the scope of a project, team members and stakeholders have to be very specific. Okay, so you should avoid something called scope creep. As I just told you, scope creep is a situation where it could be see, you make it into phases. See, in my example of building an auditorium for CBSMS, I said it takes 8 weeks to dig to finish the foundation, excavation and building the foundation. Let us say it takes 8 weeks. So your scope creep is when it becomes more than 8 weeks. Alright, suppose it takes 9 weeks, and then it will affect the next part of the project. Okay, so it helps. And then with effective project scope management, teams are able to ensure that the project is finished by the set deadlines. And whatever is the initial requirements you had decided, whatever you're doing, like actuals with the planned, is in sync with each other. Excuse me. Let's go on to the next slide, slide 6. See, for a project manager, managing the stakeholders' expectations is a very big job. So if he knows exactly what is done, so see, it's a very big confusion when you don't know what you needed to do, and someone is saying, oh, the project manager has not done that, and you did not know that you're supposed to do it. So the scope is very important. It leaves a person very definitive about what he or she needs to do and what he or she does not need to do. So it's necessary. So suppose I say you were supposed to see why we give you a timetable. Your timetable is a scope document. It says come at 9 o'clock to class. 9 to 11 you have this class. 11 to 1 you have this class. Yes, at 11, 1 to 2 you're free. You can have lunch. Alright. So you know that you cannot have lunch during class. At the same time, you know during lunchtime there is no class. Alright. Unless we tell you come at 9 o'clock, you will say, how do we know we are supposed to come? This is your scope document. You have to come. After say you have a class between 2 and 3 or something, and then you are supposed to leave the premises because maybe we have some other classes going on, something like this. So scope statement is very necessary because two things: you have to know all that you have to be aware of all that you need to do, and secondly, you should not do what you're not supposed to do. Alright, you should not do what you're not supposed to do. Like you cannot have lunch between 11 to 2, 11 to 1. That is supposed to be class. And what you're supposed to do between 11 and 1, come to class. What you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. So, with a definite project scope, managers can stay on track. You can have review meetings at the end of every week or 10 days or whatever is convenient for you, and you can just say whether you have done scope creep. You have exceeded the time, etc., that you are supposed to take for the existing task at hand. If it is 1 week, have you done it more than 1 week? Then how are you going to adjust the rest of the time? Alright, so all through the project life cycle, that is, I told you, initiation till closure, initiation, implementation, monitoring, there are many small other activities in the middle. From initiation to closure, whatever you have to do in the project life cycle, things become simpler. It gives because effective scope management gives a clear idea about the time. First of all, how to manage time. We already did project time management, and I gave you some idea of how to do it. So project about the time, the labor, the cost involved in the project. What is needed and what is not needed is very clear. Scope in project management establishes the control factors. See, control factors is like this. As I told you, there are phases in the project. When we are building the auditorium, 8 weeks for excavation and building the foundation. So that at the end of 8 weeks, have you done it or not? This is a control factor, isn't it? You can have review meetings end of every week and say, for example, let us say we have to dig 1 feet per week. So at the end of 1 week, have we dug the foundation, excavated at 1 foot or not, for example? So you are given targets, and according to the targets you work out. All right. Larma, good morning. Yashaswini, good morning. Hemant, good morning. Umesh, good morning. Okay, so this is how it goes on. Now, come to the next slide. A well-defined project scope management helps avoid common issues like constantly changing requirements, pivoting the project direction when you're already midway and they say, no, this is not what I wanted. Sabin, good morning. No, this is not what I wanted it in a different way. Now this is tough, isn't it? So if you have a scope document and you have documented all that you need to do, and then suddenly someone says you have to go do it in another way, you say, see, this is the scope document is already presented and it has been signed, approved, etc. So it cannot be changed. And if it has to be changed, then there is a procedure for it. You just cannot orally change a project document and expect the project leader and the team to do what you want to do, in a different way. If you want to do it in a different way, if you want to increase the deliverables or you want to change the deliverables, then you have to go through the team, you have to go through the top management, the approvals for the budget, new approvals for a new budget. So all this has to happen. You cannot say with the existing budget you change and do like this. So the scope document statement, or the scope document, is a very good documentation for you to say this is what we have to do for this budget. You can't expect us to do something else for the current budget. Labor needs to be paid, our time is waste. There are so many materials that you have bought for the current project and then you want to change it. It cannot be done. So this is an excellent way for you. Alright. Next, realizing that the final outcome isn't what was expected. For example, if they change the project scope, going over the discussed budget and falling behind the project line, all this cannot happen, can be avoided if you do proper project management. Next, project scope management. Next, the three processes of project scope management are follows: planning, controlling and closing. I don't need to explain that. You know what is planning. We plan and then we control it, that is we compare the actuals with the standards and then we close it when it is finished. Okay. Sometimes, many times it is then audit of the project deliverables and the assessment of the outcome, again the original plan. This I have already told you more than once. I will continue. Next, project, look at this diagram I have given you. It's called project scope management, and what do you have to do? The first one is plan the scope management. Second, you collect the requirement. Third, you define the scope. Fourth, you create the WBS, work breakdown structures. Fifth, validate scope, and sixth, control scope. So I anticipate that you are looking into the slide, and that is why I am going a little fast. Now come to the next slide. I have given you expansion of what each one means. The first one is plan the scope management. The process of creating scope management plan that documents how the project and product scope will be defined, validated and controlled. So how are you going to do will be there. Next, collect the requirements. The process of determining, documenting and managing stakeholder needs and requirements to meet project objectives. What the stakeholders need, what are the project objectives, all this is requirements. Next, you define the scope. Okay. This is the process of developing a detailed description of the project and product or deliverables. Okay. Detailed description of the project. This is the scope. Create work breakdown structures. The process of dividing project deliverables and project work into smaller, more manageable components. See, simple is the previous slide I gave you one picture and I just said control scope or validate scope, etc. Now I have exploded the diagram here and I have told you what is the meaning of validate scope, what is the meaning of control scope, what is create WBS. Okay, this is similar to actually making a WBS. Now what are the different tasks, small tasks involved in a larger task, and how long each task takes is to be determined. Okay, I'll give you a simple example of making noodles. Okay, let us say we are all going to make noodles now. See, what is the work involved in the noodles? For example, let us say we have to cut 1 cabbage, we have to cut 2 beans, 3 we have to cut capsicum, 4 you have to cut carrot. Let us say 4 vegetables we have to cut, and then 5th will be to boil the noodles, and then last will be to mix. So I repeat. Imagine everything is washed and all that. Okay, we are cutting one task is task 1 cut cabbage, task 2 is cut beans, task 3 cut capsicum, 4th cut carrot, 5 boil the noodles and last task is mix the noodles and the vegetables together. Now how are we going to do it? For example, let us say someone is going to cut the cabbage. They say cabbage cutting is easy. I need 15 minutes for the cabbage. Okay, let us take it in terms of hours. I need 1 hour to cut the cabbage. Let us say we're cutting quite a lot of cabbage because 150 of us have to eat the noodles. Okay, so 151 of you and one me, 152 of us. So imagine we have to cut a lot of cabbage. We have given 5 people charge of cutting the cabbage. So 5 people says all the cabbages you have given us. You have given us maybe 20 cabbages, 4 cabbages per head. So we require, see, I have divided 4 cabbages per head for, excuse me, 5 people, 20 cabbages. It takes 1 hour. Let us say beans. Now beans are to cut them. Let us say we want the noodles cut, the beans cut lengthwise. So lengthwise is not so easy. So they say you have given us 20 kgs of beans. To cut them lengthwise, we require 2 hours. Say 5 people are cutting the beans. They say we require 2 hours. So first you have 1 hour for cabbage, 2 hours for beans. Let us say capsicum is easy. They'll say 20, so many kilos of capsicum, whatever. So we require 1 hour. So we have 1 hour plus 2 hours plus 1 hour. That makes it 4 hours. See, carrots are not easy to cut either. So many carrots as you have given us, we require 2 hours. So we have 4 plus 2, 6 hours. Okay, 1 hour for cabbage, 2 hours for beans, 1 hour for capsicum, and 2 hours for carrots. So you have 2 plus 2, 4, 5, 6 hours. Alright. Now let us say to boil the noodles, we require 1 hour. Okay, so that makes it 7 hours. And then to mix it, we require say another hour, 8 hours. So this is, I have just done work breakdown structures for you on how to make the noodles. Alright. So similarly, I have also done work breakdown structures for you in my previous classes on how to build the auditorium. Alright. Once again. Alright, on how to build the auditorium. Is that clear? Yeah, okay, next let us go on. We finish creating the WBS, then we are validating the scope. See, when we say we are going to do this or this or this, then what happens, 1 minute. Yeah, when we are going to do in the scope statement, these are the tasks we need to do, etc., etc. When you do like that, what happens, suddenly you find that, once again, okay, suddenly you find that, what you do is not enough. You feel, have I done right? Maybe I haven't done right, etc., etc. Then you require some expert's opinion to say that you have done right. Point 1. Secondly, thing is, you need someone to validate, an expert to validate what you have done. Or secondly, you may also require, see, when everyone from the top management and stakeholders and all are involved and they say this is fine, then they will also be involved in any changes. Suppose they are not involved in planning, then how will you involve them in or ask their permission for changes? Suppose you want to escalate the cost by a little bit, then say, okay, we agreed for this cost. Escalating, these are the basic necessary, this is the base document for escalating the cost, then it is fine. Alright, then it is fine. Because if you don't involve them, the stakeholders, the sponsors, the top management, the clients, everybody, then they feel left out and they're not going to agree for any other changes in the scope statement, changes in the project in case you require. Let us say, for example, you're building a house and you cannot get sand and you have to build with the other kind of sand that we are getting, the commercial sand or something it is called, the one that you get from the broken off bricks, etc., of this hollow blocks, etc. So you have to change it, and then this is sort of a scope creep. Not in terms of time, but in terms of your deliverables. Okay, so you have to involve people and you have to make them validate your scope. This is the way you're going to do. This is the time you require, this is the amount you require. They have to validate it, and then you have to control the scope. The process of monitoring the status of the project and product scope, and managing changes to the scope baseline. This is called controlling scope. Now let us talk about next slide. This is slide number 11. I'm going back and starting each of these above functions again. The first one is planning scope management. This is the first process in project scope management. You create a plan. I said planning scope management. So you have to create a plan. Now this plan, it has to be documented. So we call it scope plan document. So the document is there. Once you write it in black and white, it helps you. So because it defines, it manages, validates, and controls the project scope. Now, what does the scope plan document involve, or what does it contain? It contains detailed project scope statement, breakdown of all the project requirements, expected project deliverables, the change control process. It doesn't have to be very detailed, but it has to fit the purpose. It has to tell you what you need to do. All right. Now, the project scope statement is a clear indication of the work that is required to complete or deliver a project successfully. Suppose you're building a road of 1 kilometer and you require a tunnel. So, for example, we have something called a magic box. This magic box is, for a tunnel, suppose you have dug under the ground, you have to reinforce this with concrete. Imagine you have to reinforce it like this with concrete. So there is something available that's a factory made magic box. Once you dig like this magic box is in the form of a square. It's a reinforced concrete piece that can be brought from the factory and just fit it there. Instead of waiting, once you have dug the tunnel, for reinforcing, you will require to put the cement, put the concrete, wait for it to cure, etc., isn't it? But if you have this magic box, say you just come, bring the magic box and insert it. It's a factory made product. So for example, if you have decided there are 2 tunnels in this 1 kilometer road that we are building, and in this 2 kilometers we require to put in 1 kilometer, whatever. You require to put 2 magic boxes. You have decided already. So it saves you some time. But if you have, suppose during the project somebody says, no, we don't want a magic box, you put the concrete, etc., it will take much more time. Then you say, no, the scope is validated, you all agreed to it. Now if this has to happen, it will take so much time. So no one should say, why did you take extra time? Why did you run into 2 or 3 months extra? You see, all this, when you have the document ready, you are very safe. All right, especially the project manager and the project team are always safe. Okay, so it gives you the boundaries, like what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So let's come to the next next slide, slide 13. The scope statement should include the boundaries of the project, that is what is included and what is not included, the responsibilities of each team and individual team members, each one what they need to do, when they need to do, and how much effort they need to put. Then according to what they have to do only, they get paid, isn't it? So it is very clear, this job, this much payment. So your payment also is guaranteed. And accordingly, you make the budget. Budget also becomes simpler. I'll talk about project cost management in my next class. Okay. Now, the procedures for completing each step of the project is also there, and how each step will be verified and approved. This is also there in the scope statement. Now, say, this is an example I took from internet. If you're going on a long trip, you would go with a map, isn't it? You would go, or say in Bangalore, all trips are long trips. I took a trip to Electronic City the other day from my house, and then I said, let me use the Google map, for example. I shouldn't be advertising about Google Maps, but still, without the Google map, I wouldn't have known how to go, which flyover to take, whether I should go below the flyover or climb the flyover, all this. Should I take a U-turn? I would not have known, isn't it? So, without planning, Your journey you don't go, and the planning of the journey with a map is like a scope statement. Okay, excuse me. The project scope statement is like a map used to get from start to finish. Without this statement, team members cannot be clear on what they're supposed to do and when they're supposed to do. You're more likely to miss deadlines and make mistakes and run over the budget, go exceed the budget. That's what I mean. Okay. The scope statement also becomes part of your essential documentation, proving that all parties were informed, all the concerned parties, the stakeholders were informed. This is what I meant by validating the scope. All of the people involved have seen it, they have said yes to it, approved it, and they have signed it. So, according to that, only you need to go. Suppose you need to change, then you say you agreed for this, so then labor is more, cost is more. So, they will validate the change easily because they had agreed to the first statement. Alright. So, it is necessary for the project team leader and project members to protect their own interests also, isn't it? Okay. Now, next slide, if you can see, so slide 16 is an example of a project scope statement. We are not going to go into that. You can just read it on your when you're after my class. Now, next is collecting requirements. Next step is to now this next step in collecting requirements. You have to work out stakeholders' expectations, what is their requirement, etc. See, generally, technical person and commercial requirements are difficult to match. So, a technical person should understand what are the commercial requirements of the stakeholders, and accordingly, they should work out. All right. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay. Now, you will be required to document all the project requirements, expectations, budgets, and deliverables. Like I said, the tasks, etc., whatever you have to, the tasks, the budget, the labor, everything has to be documented. You can do it through experience, through surveys, through interviews, focus groups. Focus groups are people who have done such things before, and they will give you their opinion. Okay. At the end of the collection requirement stage, you should have functional as well as non-functional requirements. Functional means actual requirements. Non-functional means, see, when you are building a wall, you naturally want to make it look good, the aesthetics. Alright, you may draw some, you may etch some designs in the, in the cement. Cementing the wall is a functional requirement. Non-functional requirement is smoothing it, making it look pretty, etc., etc. You see, something like this. Then stakeholder requirements, the next thing, business requirements. It has to, conform to certain necessities, isn't it? Business requirements, support and training requirements, and project requirements. All this is, these are the requirements that you collect. Okay. Let us go on to the next slide, slide 17. Here you have to define the scope. At this step, you need to turn your requirements into a well detailed description of the service or product that you're trying to deliver. See, now we have been told at CBSMS that you have to build an auditorium for yourselves. So what the auditorium requires? How many halls are supposed to be there? How many parking lots? Where the steps have to be there? Where the stage days has to be there? Excuse me. All this has to be in detail, for example, and then the actual work. All right. Now, okay. Now, next we'll go for steps for defining the scope of a project. I was talking about defining the scope. We'll go into steps for defining the scope of a project. The first of all, objectives. I've told you before. Objectives of the project. The goals. Objective and goals. The phases. The phases are given by determining the tasks, subtasks, etc., and the budget, and then the schedule. Okay, so all are the in defining the scope of a project. When you define, all right, you have to have the objectives and the goals, the phases, the sub phases, the tasks, the resources, the budgets, the schedule. So much. Okay, let us go to the next slide. We are the next one, making work breakdown structures. Now, what is a work breakdown structure? A work breakdown structure is a document that breaks down all the work which needs to be done in the project and then assigns all the tasks to the team members. I have already told you in great detail about what is a WBS. We'll go ahead. The work WBS involves subdividing the project deliverables into smaller units. For example, if you are building a house, the WBS will include, first of all, design. Designing means creating the blueprints, etc., etc., and then structural, excavation, pouring foundation, framing, drywalling, roof joints, etc. Utilities, plumbing, electrical, and etc. Finishing, painting, windows, roofing, siding, landscaping, all this. Alright. I have explained to you in the example of our auditorium for this. Now, next, I've given you in slide 21, I've given you an example of a work breakdown structure. The next step in scope management is validating the scope. I've explained to you again, I'd like to tell you, validating the scope is you take the project executives, the stakeholders, the top management, and all whoever is interested in the project and has authority to sanction the project, etc. They should be told, communicated, and they should say yes to the project. Not only say verbally yes, not only they should be communicated, they should agree, and not verbally, they should sign in the project saying all this I have agreed to. It is necessary. It is for your safety, because you cannot do anything and everything they tell you for the amount of salary you have been offered. For the salary you have been offered, that much work only you are supposed to do. You cannot go beyond it. All right. Time, regarding the time, regarding the effort, etc., etc. And then remember, in a project, what happens? It is not a daily operations that you are doing for your daily salary. You may have been deputed from some other department for 2 months. You can't stay there beyond 2 months. And if your work, your responsibility in the project doesn't get finished in 2 months, then how will you go back? You have to go back to your job, to your department, and if it is not finished, you are stuck. All this has to be very clear before you take up the job. That is why validating scope is very important. Let us come to the next slide, slide 23. You control the scope. Project managers need to ensure that as the project begins, it always stays within the defined scope. As I told you, it should not have scope creep. Scope creep is said to be when in terms of time. But I would like to tell you, when the scope creep happens, scope creep means what? 8 weeks for doing the foundation, and you are forced to do it for more than 8 weeks, say 9 weeks. Now this is scope creep in terms of actual work. When you do actual work, time is concerned, actual time. Now there is a time scope creep in terms of time. What about cost? What about labor? See, labor has to be paid. Instead of 8 weeks, you have to pay them for 9 weeks. So then naturally there is a cost. Yeah. And everything else, the material, when the material is bought, how much it is, how it is stored, where it is stored. You may need to store this material in some go down, etc. And if you have to pay for the go down, again your cost is increased. Okay. So this is the meaning of controlling scope. Next, I have given you once more steps involved in scope management. In simple, you have to define project needs, understand the objectives, and define the project scope. This is another one. There are some tips for project scope management which we will see. Some common. See, there should be no ambiguity. No ambiguity means you can do like this, you can do like that. No. Ambiguity means, when you use real sand and when you use the commercial sand is much more cheaper than the real sand. If they have released money for real sand and you are using commercial sand, you will be asked an explanation for the difference in the cost. What happened to the difference in the cost? That is not an ambiguous. There the ambiguity comes. But which sand to use? If they tell you use commercial sand or use natural sand, there the ambiguity comes, because there is a difference in the quality of the building perhaps. There's which I am not really expert in saying whether commercial sand or real sand makes a difference in the quality of the building. I'm not qualified to say that, but there definitely, as management people, we can say there definitely is a cost in the procuring of the sand, in the actual cost of the sand, because actual natural sand is much more expensive than commercial sand. All right, so your budget will be affected. A lot of things will happen. So such ambiguity you cannot tolerate. Okay, do not agree for such ambiguity. Important definitions. What do you mean by what do you mean by deadline? Give the deadline properly. When you say 8 weeks, are we including Sundays? Are we excluding Sundays? If you are including Sundays, 8 into 7 will become 56. If you are excluding Sundays, it will be 7 into 7, it will be 49. You have lots, isn't it? 49, right? 7 and 7, 7 is 49. Okay? And no, whatever, 8 weeks means 8 Sundays are less. So you have 8 working days less. Isn't this an ambiguity? When you say 8 weeks, you have to say whether it is inclusive of Sundays or Sundays are excluded. All right? Then all this. Okay, why do you need why do project managers require scope? See, it gives you clear communication, ensures that stakeholders and team members understand the scope of the project and understand how you're going to do the project. Okay, for example, you have said that we are not working on Sundays, so nobody can come to inspect on Sundays and say you are not working. Or you cannot say, when I say 8 weeks, it is how many days. And if you want them to, also in a day, how many hours are you supposed to work? If you are supposed to work 10 hours, then after 8, 2 hours, after 8 hours, the plus 2 hours have to be overtime. Then you will have to put in the budget the overtime rates of the workers. How many workers are going to work overtime? How many days? How many hours? So that comes in the budget. So you have to be very clear about all this. That's why project managers require a scope statement, because project scope clearly sets out what is included and what is